It was always hard to remember afterwards how the world looked when she was dans une certaine condition, as her mother had delicately called it. For example, she remembered seeing smells. The actual streets and buildings, they were there, of course, but only as a drab monochrome background against which the sounds and, yes, the smells seared like brilliant lines of colored fire and clouds of colored smoke. That was the point. That was where it all broke down. There were no proper words afterwards for what she heard and smelled. If you could see an eighth distinct color just for a while, and then describe it back in the seven-colored world, it'd have to be something like a sort of greenish purple? Experience did not cross over well between species. Sometimes, although not very often, Angua thought she was very lucky to get to see both worlds. And there was always 20 minutes after a change when all the senses were heightened, so that the world glowed in every sensory spectrum like a rainbow. It was nearly worth it just for that. There were varieties of werewolf. Some people merely had to shave every hour and wear a hat to cover the ears. They could pass for nearly normal. But she could recognize them nevertheless. Werewolves could spot another werewolf across a crowded street. There was something about the eyes. And, of course, if you had time, there were all sorts of other clues. Werewolves tended to live alone and take jobs that didn't bring them into contact with animals. They wore scent or aftershave a lot and tended to be very fastidious about their food and kept diaries with the phases of the moon carefully marked in red ink. It was no life being a werewolf in the country. A stupid chicken went missing and you were a #1 suspect. Everyone said it was better in the city. It was certainly overpowering. Angua could see several hours of Elm Street all in one go. The mugger's fear was a fading orange line. Carrot's trail was an expanding pale green cloud with an edge that suggested he was slightly worried. There were additional tones of old leather and armor polish. Other trails, faint or powerful, crisscrossed the street. There was one that smelled like an old privy carpet.
"Yo, bitch,"
said a voice behind her. She turned her head. Gaspode looked no better through canine vision, except that he was at the center of a cloud of mixed odors. "Oh, it's you."
"'S right,"
said Gaspode, feverishly scratching himself. He gave her a hopeful look.
Just asking, you understand, just getting it over with right now, for the look of the thing, for Russ' name's sake, as it might be. But I suppose there's no chance of me sniffing?"
"None."
Just asking, no offense meant."
Angua wrinkled her muzzle. "How come you smell so bad? I mean, you smelled bad enough when I was human, but now—" Gaspode looked proud.
"Good, isn't it?" he said. "It didn't just happen. I had to work at it. If you was a true dog, this would be like really great aftershave. By the way, you want to get a collar, miss. No one bothers you if you've got a collar."
"Thanks." Gaspode seemed to have something on his mind.
You don't rip hearts out, do you?"
"Not unless I want to," said Angua.
Right, said Gaspode hurriedly. "Where are you going?"
He broke into a waddling, bow-legged trot to keep up with her, to have a sniff around Hammerhawk's place. "I didn't ask you to come."
"Got nothing else to do," said Gaspode. "The House of Ribs don't put its rubbish out till midnight."
"Haven't you got a home to go to?" said Angua, as they trotted under a fish and chip stall.
"Home? Me? Home? Yeah, of course, no problemo. Laughing kids, big kitchen, 3 meals a day, humorous cat next door to chase, own blanket and spot by the fire. He's an old softy, but we love him, etc. No problem there. I just like to get out a bit," said Gaspode.
"Only, I see you haven't got a collar."
"It fell off."
"Right?"
"It was the weight of all them rhinestones."
"I expect it was."
"They let me do pretty much as I like," said Gaspode.
"I can see that."
"Sometimes I don't go home for, days at a time."
"Right."
"Weeks, sometimes."
"Sure."
"But they're always so glad to see me when I do," said Gaspode.
I thought you said you slipped up at the university, said Angua, as they dodged a cart in Rhyme Street. For a moment, Gaspode smelled uncertain, but he recovered magnificently.
Yeah, right, he said. Well, you know how it is. Families, all them kids picking you up, giving you biscuits and similar, people patting you the whole time, gets on your nerves, so I sleeps up there quite often.
Right.
More often than not, point of fact.
Really? Gaspode whimpered a little.
You want to be careful, you know. A young bitch like you can meet real trouble in this dog city.
They had reached the wooden jetty behind Hammerhawk's workshop. How do you... Angua paused. There was a mixture of smells here, but the overpowering one was as sharp as a saw. Fireworks?
And fear, said Gaspode. Lots of fear.
He sniffed the planks.
Human fear, not dwarf. You can tell if it's a dwarf's. It's the rat died, see? Phew! Must have been real bad to stay this long.
I can smell one male human, one dwarf, said Angua.
Yeah, one dead dwarf.
Gaspode stuck his battered nose along the line of the door and snuffled noisily.
There's other stuff, he said, but it's bugger what with the river so close and everything. There's oil and grease and all sorts. Hey, where are you going?
Gaspode trotted after her as Angua headed back to Rhyme Street, nose close to the ground, following the trail.
What for? He won't thank you, you know.
Who won't?
Your young man.
Angua stopped so suddenly that Gaspode ran into her. You mean Corporal Carrot? He's not my young man.
Yeah, I'm a dog, right? It's all in the nose, right? Smell can't lie. Pheromones. It's the old sexual alchemy stuff.
I've only known him a couple of nights.
Aha!
What do you mean, aha?
Nothing wrong with it anyway.
There isn't any it to be wrong.
Right. Not that it would be, said Gaspode, adding hurriedly, even if there was. Everyone likes Corporal Carrot.
They do, don't they? Said Angua, her hackles settling down. He's very... likable.
Even Big Fido only bit his hand when Carrot tried to pat him.
Who's Big Fido?
Chief barker of the Dogs Guild.
Dogs have got a guild? Dogs? Pull one of the other ones. It's got bells on.
No, straight up. Scavenging rights, sunbathing spots, nighttime barking duty, breeding rights, howling rotas, the whole bone of rubber.
Dog Guild, snarled Angua sarcastically. Oh yeah.
Chase a rat up a pipe in the wrong street and call me a liar. It's a good job for you I'm around, else you could get into big trouble. There's big trouble for a dog in this town who ain't a guild member. It's lucky for you, said Gaspode, that you met me.
I suppose you're a big dog in the guild, yes?
Ain't a member, said Gaspode smugly.
How come you survive then?
I can think on my paws, me. Anyway, Big Fido leaves me alone. I got the power.
What power?
Never you mind. Big Fido, he's a friend of mine.
Biting a man's arm for patting you doesn't sound very friendly.
Yeah? Last man who tried to pat Big Fido, they only ever found his belt buckle.
Yes?
And that was in a tree.
Where are we?
Not even a tree near here. What?
Gaspode sniffed the air. His nose could read the city in a way reminiscent of Captain Vime's educated souls.
Junction of Schoon Avenue and Prouts, he said.
Trail's dying out. It's mixed up with too much other stuff. Angua sniffed around for a while. Someone had come up here, but too many people had crossed the trail. The sharp smell was still there, but only as a suggestion, in the welter of conflicting scents. She was aware of an overwhelming smell of approaching soap. She'd noticed it before, but only as a woman, and only as a faint whiff. As a quadruped, it seemed to fill the world. Corporal Carrot was walking up the road, looking thoughtful. He wasn't looking where he was going, however, but he didn't need to. People stood aside for Corporal Carrot. It was the first time she'd seen him through these eyes. Good grief! How did people not notice it? He walked through the city like a tiger through tall grass, or a hoplin bear across the snow, wearing the landscape like a skin. Gaspode glanced sideways. Angua was sitting on her haunches, staring.
Your tongue's hanging out, he said.
What? So what? That's natural. I'm panting.
Ha, ha.
Carrot noticed him and stopped. Why, it's a little mongrel dog, he said.
Woof woof,
said Gaspode, his traitor tail wagging. I see you've got a lady friend anyway, said Carrot, patting him on the head and then absent-mindedly wiping his hand on his tunic. And my word, what a splendid bitch, he said. A ram-top wolfhound, if I'm any judge. He stroked Angua in a vaguely friendly way. Oh well, he said, this isn't getting any work done, is it?
Woof, whine, give the doggy a biscuit,
said Gaspode. Carrot stood up and patted his pockets. I think I've got a piece of biscuit here. Well, I could believe you understand every word I say. Gaspode begged and caught the biscuit easily.
Woof woof, fawn, he said.
Carrot gave the slightly puzzled look that people always gave him when he said woof instead of barking, nodded at Angua, and carried on towards Scoon Avenue and Lady Ramkin's house.
There,
said Gaspode, crunching the stale biscuit noisily,
goes a very nice boy. Simple, but nice.
Yes, he is simple, isn't he? Said Angua. That's what I first noticed about him. He's simple, and everything else here is complicated.
He was making sheep's eyes at you earlier, said Gaspode. Not that I've got anything against sheep's eyes, mind you, if they're fresh.
You're disgusting.
Yeah, but at least I stay the same shape all month. No offense meant.
You're asking for a bite.
Oh yeah, moaned Gaspode. Yeah, you'll bite me. Arg! Oh yes, that'll really worry me, that will. I mean, think about it. I've got so many dog diseases, I'm only alive because the little buggers are too busy fighting among themselves. I mean, I've even got licky end, and you only get that if you're a pregnant sheep. Go on, bite me. Change my life. Every time there's a full moon, suddenly I grow hair and yellow teeth and have to go around on all fours. Yes, I can see that making a big difference to my ongoing situation. Actually, he said, I'm definitely on a losing streak in the hair department, so maybe not the whole bite, maybe just a nibble.
Shut up. At least you've got a lady friend, Carrot had said, as if there was something on his mind.
A quick lick, even.
Shut up.